Hello everyone, welcome to an Imperial Assault Tournament Regulations review video. As boring as that sounds, try and stick with me because there's some interesting changes ahead for Imperial Assault, and I'm sure you've all heard about them by now, but we're definitely going to get in there and have a chat about what it means and what it could affect in the game. So, as normal, anything in red is the changes, so there's little bits and pieces in here. Going through calculating a player's victory points. We've got a better organisation for how the events run now. We have a change now when a judge is observing a game. If they notice anything rules wise not being done properly, they can actually step in. Spectators can tell judges and stuff like that. So bring it to the attention of a leader, not a judge. Then we have a couple of little grammatical changes, nothing major. Still nothing. Oh, there we go, the map change, that's a big one. The Anchorhead Cantina, it was formerly the Anchorhead Bar, is replacing the Nevian War Zones. So ISB headquarters and Coruscant landfill will be joined by Anchorhead Cantina, which is from the Obi-Wan Kenobi ally pack. Those will be the 3 legal maps from January 23rd. That's the date it comes in. So that will affect my regional I'll be playing in February, which is going to be interesting. Not too sad to see Nevian War Zones leave. It was an annoying map for me. So, eliminated figures. To facilitate calculating a player's victory points, each player should keep their deployment and upgrade cards organised, even after a deployment group is destroyed. When a figure is eliminated, the owner of a figure places a corresponding figure model on its respective deployment card. So, a bit of a nothing change until we get to later parts, but just making sure that your player is tied in, your opponent can see what's going on. I've been guilty of just throwing them in a giant pile of dead figures because it wasn't really relevant before, but now it is. So let's hurry up and get to the interesting parts. So obviously the game ends as soon as one player has accumulated 40 victory points from the defeated figures, card effects and mission effects. The player with the most victory points earns a win, with their opponent receives a loss. Calculating victory points again, and then the big red section we've been looking for. A player's victory points determine who won the game in most situations. Each player calculates their victory points by adding together the figure cost of all their opponent's destroyed figures, including any upgrade cards attached to a deployment group in which all of its figures have been destroyed. Then the player adds any victory points he or she has gained from card or mission effects. Blah blah blah. If a player destroys all of his or her opponent's figures, the opponent's army is worth 40 deployment points for the purpose of calculating victory points, even if the total deployment or upgrade costs are worth fewer army points. If a player concedes the game, all of his remaining figures are destroyed before calculating each player's victory points. So what does that actually mean? So previously in Imperial Assault, we scored points for each deployment card that we defeated. To defeat a deployment card, you have to defeat all the figures on the card. Now you score points per figure. So the easiest example would be a unit of stormtroopers. The card is 6 points for a deployment card. Each figure has a deployment cost of 2. So you'd kill all 3 of them and get 6 points previously. Now, as you kill a figure, you put it on the card and that figure is worth 2 victory points for your opponent. The victory points are calculated every time a game state changes. So as the figure comes off, it would add 2 points to your opponent. As you gain a point from doing an objective, it's checked again, it adds on. A celebration is another point where you stop and check the game state and add the points on. If at any point you hit 40, you win. That gets interesting once you start looking at groups that have varying deployment costs. So for example, there's a few 7-point cards. In fact, we'll go over a few of it. We'll stick with Imperials. That's what the list that's going to affect the most. is obviously things like Elite Snowtroopers. The card costs 10 points, but the figures have a deployment cost of 3. So when you defeat all 3 figures, you used to gain 10 victory points. Now, as you defeat each figure, you will gain 3 victory points, and then once the group is dead, you will only have scored 9 victory points. You won't get a bonus point for killing the group anymore, but you'll gain them as you go. That's why it's key that if you kill everything, you get more points. You also have to look at it the other way, in that there's cards, I think Scum have got quite a few of them, where the deployment cost is actually cheaper than the figure cost of each individual figure. It's like the 7-point units that have a figure cost of 4 all spring to mind, and that can be a bit of a deterrent to taking those types of units if you're worried about how it's going to go. But overall, I think the grand scheme of things, it will balance out, and it's a really positive change. I think troopers have been dominating the recent meta, whether it was the rebel troopers, which were just as powerful in the right hands, or the imperial troopers, which is a go-to list that a lot of people were running. The Blaze trooper list was getting pretty strong, so this helps to stop people from playing the game without any risk, leaving a stormtrooper hiding in the back, not risking the points from the card. You've got to get in and score points, and it gets quick and dirty now. Jabba was already going to change the way the game was played, because it had a fundamental difference in how the game functions, in a similar way to how Blaze changes how command cards work because of his impact on that phase. Jabba would have had the same thing, but this now just makes it even more pronounced that you have to be quick and dirty in how you're scoring these points. You can't mess around and try and be too hasty. And changes, it's going to mean that some of the big beefy units could come more into a meta, because they'll be harder for people to gain the points from, and then you can run that one figure away. So the ones that I was thinking about that might come in are like the hover tanks, or the ATST for the Imperials. They could have a bit of a resurgence just in the big meaty units. They've got bonuses to the defense, make them quite hard to deal with quite easily, and pile out a lot of damage, so they can definitely get in there and kill 1 or 2 figures before they go down without any trouble. And then if you can start pulling them back and drawing people into your lists, I think that's going to be a viable playstyle. The other things that it's going to do is make the smaller activation counts with lots of these beefy units even more viable, because you get all of those passes to let your opponent get into range of you. Then you can pounce on them, do your damage, and gain a big boost in victory points, whilst your opponent then has to struggle to deal with your beefier units. So a Vader list could become even stronger now. Chewbacca, who's extraordinarily hard to kill, could be a godsend. The ones I was thinking about for Rebels is there's lots of regen, Heart of Freedom in combination with Leia, putting it back into a deck all of the time. Leia having recovery, MHD being able to heal, puts Rebels, in my opinion, in a pretty strong place in the meta. You have, for Scum, just lots of monsters who have lots of health. The Rancor, when it can boost its defense, and potentially you can temporary alliance in MHD to be healing this Rancor. It's going to sit there blocking line of sight, taking up table space, getting healed, and just being a pain. All of these command cards that do healing abilities are going to be worth the weight in gold now, and I think it's going to be a change. I think we will see the development of a tank meta in Imperial Assault, which is something that's odd to say, but it's going to be the glass cannons against the tanks. It's really going to be a thing now, because previously the glass cannons weren't at risk, because you could have one of them and then have the other one in a position to take pot shots and then run away. HK Assassin Droids really spring to mind in this, and it's just going to really mix it up. Some really interesting things here. Before I talk much more, I'll just double check that I'm not missing anything else. No, that was it. So, like I say, I think there's lots of good changes here. The one thing I did want to talk about as well is obviously there's been some theories on different things and how they'll work, and I'll give my opinion on it. And nothing's confirmed yet until the actual FAQ to accompany these regulations comes out. But stuff like reinforcements, how that's going to work, and people scoring multiple points off killing the same trooper, I'm going to say now that I honestly believe that the reinforcements won't give bonus points. It will remove the points from your opponent, because you're going to remove a figure from a defeated card and put it back into play. So I think the points are going to bounce up and down with reinforcements now, and that to me is going to keep trooper squads viable. I don't think trooper swarms are going to be too much of a thing now, but being able to preserve some points that way still gives them a good level of power, but stops them from just never giving up any points. So I'm hoping that that's the way it gets FAQ'd. There are lots of other instances and things that need tidying up. I don't want to go into everything yet. Rest assured, once the FAQ comes out, we'll break that one down as well for you guys. But yeah, I'll do a map review at some point this week for the new map as well, so stay tuned for that video. And yeah, let me know if you've any opinions on this FAQ, on this change. For myself, I think it's going to be a really good change, really positive one for Imperial Assault, and hopefully help push the meta even more diversity, because it's in a really healthy place at the moment already. So while some people might argue that it's healthy, don't change it, I think that the stuff brought in by Jabba and everything there would have unbalanced things a little bit and just changed it. I think this keeps everything in line, everything the same for all of the players. Everyone's scoring points when figures die. Jabba's throwing extra points in there. So look out for mercenary lists that really have multiple cards that are going to gain them extra points. I think that's going to be a really fun playstyle. If you want to chat about that one, send us some messages on Facebook, get your comments going, guys. If you like the video, please hit subscribe and feel free to support us on Patreon, and thanks for watching.